It's a big honor.
Summit and Destiny have met 7 times before. Tonight is number 8.
And the Tennessee Volunteers are the SEC Tournament Champions. It's been a long time coming. The last time Tennessee won this tournament was in 1979, but they've got another trophy to put in the trophy case at Thompson Bowling Arena.
The 2023 SEC champions, the Tennessee Volunteers.
Hit high in the air into left field. Stevenson circling in front of the fence into foul ground. He goes into the corner, makes the catch, and that's the ball game.
And the Volunteers will hold the trophy.
How much fun is this, man? God, I love it. High fly, deep right, and Tennessee walks it off.
The 2-2 to Denton.
Well hit, deep left field, it is gone!
For the win for the Volunteers. From 40. On the way, a knuckleball. He got it!
How much fun is this?
Man, Rocky Top, this is college football at its absolute best.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is college sports at its absolute best. Welcome into another episode of the VolFanatics Show. I am Michael. Unfortunately, Skylar was not able to join me tonight. He's on his way back home from visiting family. Hope to have him back next week and safe travels to him. I know he's probably watching right now, but I am going to do an episode tonight to get us something on the books. As we were not here last week, we decided to take the day off to spend time with our mothers, our families, all of that. So tonight, we're going to go through, I'm going to give a brief recap of what we missed since we were off last week. Then we're going to move into a softball segment and then a baseball segment. We're going to try to keep this brief tonight. Like I said, it's just me, so not a whole lot of back and forth talking. But we do have somebody in the chat. And before I check it, I bet this is Skylar tuning in. And it sure is, Skylar. I figured that you would tune in as soon as we went live. Again, man, safe travels the rest of the way home. Look forward to having you back next week, brother. But before I get into it this evening, I'd like to give a shout out to our show sponsor. That is Chris Smith Insurance. As a homeowner, Chris Smith was once let down by an insurance company, so he started his own agency where instead of feeling like a big company is fighting against you, you know your agent is fighting for you. All insurance is not equal. Trust Chris Smith Insurance. Give him a call at 865-272-3387. We really appreciate Chris Smith for being our show sponsor. And before I get into our first segment sponsor, I do want to give a couple of shout outs. We have got sorry, guys. Had a brief difficulty there. Microphone and webcam came unplugged, but like to give a couple of shout outs. Skeeter from the Woodswater Mizzou podcast, of course, has been in the hospital and stuff with a foot injury. He actually lost 3 toes. He is back home now, thank goodness. Still has a long road of recovery. He's also got a baby that is due any day now. So I want to give a shout out to him. Also, a shout out to a friend of ours from the College Huddle community, Alex from the Bama Factor podcast. He welcomed in a baby this past week. So we got 2 babies on the way in the College Huddle community. And then also outside of the College Huddle, but in sports, want to give a prayer request out to Auburn player Brian Beatty, who is in the ICU right now after receiving a gunshot wound. I believe he was shot in the head in Florida this past week. So want to keep our prayers up to Brian Beatty in this battle that he's got upcoming. But now, without further ado, let me give a shout out to our segment 1 sponsor, that is Optimal Asbestos Services, your trusted environmental consulting firm in Knoxville, Tennessee. State licensed and insured, we specialize in asbestos air quality management for commercial buildings and homes. Contact Jeff Mole at 865-223-3297 or on the web at optimalasbestosservices.com. So, Jeff, we really appreciate you being our segment 1 sponsor. With that segment 1, as I mentioned, I'm going to give a brief recap of what all happened over the past week that we missed because we're out for Mother's Day. As the Lady Vols, unfortunately, they went 1-and-done in the SEC tournament, but that didn't really affect them any as they ended up getting the number 3 overall national seed in the Knoxville Regional. But brief overview of that game. LSU beats them 2-1, and it was a long rain delay that just kind of messed up the day. I know both teams had to go through that, but Tennessee unfortunately cannot take advantage of it as they get beat 2-1. Carlin Pickens takes the loss in the game. Tennessee only managed 1 run off of 6 hits as Zeta Puni was 1 for 3 in the game. McKenna Gibson, 1 for 3. Riley West, 1 for 3. Sophia Nugent, 1 for 3. Julia Kasoyanopoulos was 1 for 2. And Laura Mealer was 1 for 2 in the game. Carlin Pickens pitched 5 innings. Peyton Gottschall came in and pitched the final 2. But unfortunately, the Lady Vols could not pull it out, going 1-and-done in the SEC tournament. But as I mentioned, did get the number 3 overall national seed in the NCAA tournament, hosting the Knoxville Regional. I'll get to that here in just a little bit, but let's talk about Tennessee baseball for a minute as they went to Nashville and got a series win, making it their 8th win in a row, or 8th series win in a row, as they took game 1 8-4. AJ Causey gets the win on the mound in this one as he goes. Getting to it. He goes 6 1/3, gives up 5 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned, 1 walk, and 7 Ks. Tennessee gets a 1 for 5 performance from Christian Moore. That 1 hit was a solo home run. Billy Amick goes 2 for 5 in the game. Kavarius Tears goes 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Dylan Dreiling had the big bat in this one. He went 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs, a double and a triple in the game. Hunter Inslee was 2 for 3 in the game. And Cannon Peebles came in to pinch hit late in the game, went 1 for 1 with a 2-run home run in the game. So great opening night win from Tennessee, much needed. Then in game 2, they squeak one out 7-6 to pick up the series win as it came down to the wire for Tennessee in this one. Drew Beam did end up getting the win. He went 5 1/3, giving up 6 hits, 5 runs, all of them earned, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Nate Snead ends up getting the save, but the big guy coming in, Aaron Combs, went 2 2/3 in relief and really just shut the door. But Nate Snead, picking up the final 2 outs, does get the save as Christian Moore goes 3 for 5 in the ball game, adding another home run. He had 5 RBIs in this game. Blake Burke also went 3 for 5 in the game. Billy Amick, 1 for 5. Dylan Dreiling, 1 for 4. Hunter Inslee was 1 for 5. Dean Curley, 1 for 3. And Cal Stark, 2 for 5. He had a triple in this contest, but Tennessee gets the series win with this game right here, but unfortunately could not get the sweep as they dropped game 3, 3-0. And it was the only offense in the game for Tennessee really came from Dylan Dreiling. Xander Sechrist takes the loss in this one as he goes 2 innings, gives up 4 hits, 3 runs. That was a 3-run home run, if I'm not mistaken, in the I'm sorry. He just gave up 3 runs in the first 2 innings of the game. Nate Snead came in and pitched very well, going 4 1/3. Andrew Behnke and Kirby Cannell came in there towards the end. But Tennessee, only 3 hits in this game, all 3 of them by Dylan Dreiling. He was 3 for 4, and nobody else tallied a hit. Matter of fact, Billy Amick, Hunter Inslee, and Robin Villeneuve were the only others to reach base as they all walked in this contest. So, unfortunately, could not pull out the sweep in this one, but did get the series win as they went into the final weekend of the season, 1 game back in the SEC standings from Kentucky. Got a couple of people in the chat here. Looks like Skylar does most of them. It was a big letdown to have I think this comment was from the SEC or from the SEC tournament, the Lady Vols here. We do also have Misty tuning in. Hey, Simo, yes. Misty says Simo in this one, and Skylar comments right back and goes, Simo gets 3 home runs on the weekend. Did he get 3 in the Vanderbilt series, or was it just 2? I think the 3 home runs was this weekend against South Carolina. Am I right? I can look back on that, but I think I'm right on that one. A little bit outside of baseball and softball, we have the Tennessee men's tennis team made the Elite Eight, as well as the women's team. The women's tennis team made the Elite Eight this past week, and the women's team knocked off number 1 Oklahoma State, who had a winning streak dating back to last season. So fantastic performances from both tennis teams. Also, men's golf team was the number 1 seed in the Austin Regional. They finished 2nd in that regional, but do lock up a spot in the NCAA championships. I believe that is this coming week. So a lot of good things going on outside of Tennessee baseball and softball as well. But I believe that is going to wrap up the first segment. Like I said, a brief recap of what happened when we were off last week. So with that, I will get to our segment 2 sponsor. And got to pull it up here real quick. Skylar, I miss you, man. So that segment 2 sponsor is P&L Business Services. P&L Business Services is a full-service bookkeeping, payroll, tax, and consulting firm for small to mid-sized businesses where it's your numbers, our passion, and we empower you to grow your business. We know firsthand that getting your monthly reporting, invoicing, bill pay, taxes, and other essential business services right is critical. That's why at P&L Business Services, we go beyond bookkeeping by providing you with everything you need in your back office so you can have your time back and the peace of mind to do what you love most, building your business. Behind every successful business is a great bookkeeper. So contact Leanne and P&L Business Services at pnlbusinessservices.com. So we appreciate you very much for being our segment 2 sponsor. And segment 2 is going to be softball first. We will get to them before we get into baseball. Got a lot to talk about with baseball. Another chat in here. Skylar's 45 minutes out. So I don't know if I could talk that long by myself, man, but I would love to be able to at least get you in here for a few minutes. Anyway, Tennessee softball hosts the regional this weekend. They welcome in Dayton, Miami of Ohio, and Virginia to the Knoxville Regional. And game 1, they face off against Dayton, get the 3-0 shutout in this one as Carlin Pickens pitches yet another shutout. Both of these pitchers are just unbelievable, but Carlin Pickens was named SEC Pitcher of the Year. Well-deserving, but really either one of Carlin Pickens or Peyton Gottschall could have won this award, and I would not have been mad about it. I don't think many people were mad about this. Let's see. Skylar's 100% correct on this one. 0 runs on the weekend given up by the Lady Vols as they shut out Dayton in this game and Virginia twice. So a fantastic weekend from the Lady Vols. Destiny Rodriguez ended up being the difference maker in this one from the plate, as she was 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Let's see, and that was in the second inning. Destiny Rodriguez brought home Julia Katsoyanopoulos and Zeta Pooney on a single. And then later in the game, Sophia Nugent singled, bringing home Taylor Pennell, and that was the scoring for the Lady Vols in this one. As I mentioned, Carlin Pickens goes all 7 innings, only gives up 2 hits in the ball game, has 12 strikeouts, no runs, no walks in this game. Fantastic performance from Carlin. Taylor Pennell goes 1 for 3 in the ball game. McKenna Gibson was 1 for 3 as she walked twice. Sophia Nugent was 1 for 2. She also walked once. Let's see. Destiny Rodriguez was 1 for 3 in the contest, and Laura Miller did not have a hit. She was 0 for 1, but she walked twice in the game. So a great game 1 to start off the Knoxville Regional. And we move right along to game 2, where the Lady Vols scored early and often in a run rule shutout of Virginia in game 2. This was the winner's bracket game to automatically put the Lady Vols into the Sunday matchup, which would be a win and advance or lose, and it's elimination game. It's sudden death at that point. And it was a little bit of everybody in this one, as Kiki Malloy goes 2 for 2 in the contest. She also walked twice. Taylor Pannell was 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Kiki Malloy had 2 RBIs as well. McKenna Gibson was 2 for 2. She walked once, and she also had an RBI. Zeta Pooney, 1 for 2. She also walked once. Riley West was 1 for 2 with 4 RBIs in the contest. Sophia Nugent, 1 for 3 with 3 RBIs. Destiny Rodriguez, 1 for 1 in the contest. She did walk twice. Brocken Brawl, she went. She did not have an official plate appearance, but she walked once. And Laura Miller was 1 for 3 in the contest. Peyton Gottschall went 5 innings, gave up 3 hits, no walks, no runs, 5 strikeouts in this one. The scoring went, Kiki Malloy led off in the bottom of the first inning with a home run to left center field, and then Taylor Pannell, they go back-to-back to start the game as she homered to center, so 2-0 to start off the game. In the second inning, Tennessee puts up 5 runs as Boo Gibson singled and Kiki Malloy scored off of it. Riley West had a sac fly to right field, and Taylor Pannell scored off of it. Sophia Nugent with a 3-run shot to center field to round out the scoring in the second. Tennessee comes up in the third and scores 4 more runs as Taylor Pannell doubled the center and Kiki Malloy scored off of it. Riley West, later in the inning, homered to center field and brought home 2 runs along with it as Zeta Pooney and Boo Gibson scored. In the fourth inning, Kiki Malloy hit a single to right center, and Julia Kasoyanopoulos, Bella Fall scored off of it as Kasoyanopoulos was thrown out at third base in that one. But Tennessee did score 1 in that inning and did not have any at-bats in the fifth for the 12-0 victory. So just domination from Tennessee in game 2 to advance to the Sunday win and advance game. We'll go back to the text box here. Skylar says dominant performance from the Lady Vols, and also Miller Golden Glove Award. And that's something that cannot be overlooked, as Laura Miller has struggled at the plate in the last half of this season. But, man, what she does in the field is just unbelievable. I mean, she makes plays that you sit back and you go, how in the world did she make that? I mean, one of them, for instance, was she's going over to her left towards second base. She grabs it, does a full 360, and just throws a strike to first base to get the runner by a step. And it wasn't just that play. It was like 3 or 4 others in that single game alone. I believe that was the Dayton game. I don't think I was able to catch the Virginia game. Yes, it was the Dayton game. I watched that one, and it was just unbelievable what Laura Mueller was doing in the field for that game. We also have Chastity Williams tuning in. Hey, Chastity, we appreciate you tuning in to the show. As I mentioned, Skylar is on his way back home. We might be able to catch him for a few minutes towards the end if I can talk long enough, which, if you know me, I love to talk. So that is a definite possibility. But we're trying to get on here, and have an upload this week because we took off last week for Mother's Day. But the Lady Vols played Virginia again today, and for the Volunteers, it was a win and advance. For Virginia, it was a win, and you force I guess technically a game 4 for Tennessee, but it was a winner go home game for game 3. And the Lady Vols once again took care of business with another shutout, winning 6-0 in this game. Carlin Pickens on the mound once again. She went all 7 innings, only gave up 2 hits, 1 walk. She did have a hit by pitch, but 7 strikeouts in the contest, giving her 21st win on the year. So another fantastic performance from Carly Pickens on the mound. And at the plate, Kiki Malloy did not record a hit in this one, but she was walked all 4 times that she made an appearance. So Virginia did not want to pitch to her after the first game that Tennessee and Virginia played. Let's see. McKenna Gibson was 1 for 3 in this one. Zeta Pooney 2 for 4. Sophia Nugent 1 for 4. Laura Mueller 1 for 3 in the contest. And I skipped over one, but that was on purpose, as the offense today was Riley West. She was a triple shy of the cycle, as I will take a look at the scoring here. The first inning, Riley West singled to left field, scoring McKenna Gibson and Kiki Malloy. Zeta Pooney in the top of the third ended up singling, and Kiki Malloy scored off of it. Later in the inning, Riley West doubled to left center, and Taylor scored, as well as Allen. Both of those were pinch runners. And then in the top of the 5th inning, Riley West homered to left field. It was a solo shot to give the 6-0 victory to the Lady Vols. She did come up with a chance to get that triple in the in the top of the 7th inning. Unfortunately, got out in that one, but still a fantastic performance from Riley West in today's game, as the Lady Vols move on to the Super Regionals, where they will host Alabama next weekend. The dates and the times have yet to be announced. We will put that out on social media as soon as we find out. But Lady Vols moving to the Super Regionals for the 13th time in school history. Just another fantastic performance from the Lady Vols this weekend. Yeah, Skylar is absolutely correct on this one, as Sherry Parker Lee was absolutely rocking this weekend. Yeah, Alabama is who Tennessee hosts, as they took care of business in their regional. Like I said, we'll have the dates and the times. Hopefully later today. It might be tomorrow before we get those times. But looking forward to the Lady Vols hosting next weekend, as there wasn't a lot of controversy, I guess you would say, in the regionals this weekend. Most of the host teams did win, but I do think that there was a couple of upsets. If we have time towards the end, I will probably do a couple of those. But that pretty much wraps up softball for the time being, as we will now move into our segment 3, which will be baseball. And our segment 3 sponsor is Kaizen Painting. Do you want a colorful life? Kaizen is a painting and drywall company that provides residential, commercial, exterior, and interior services. At Kaizen Painting, we understand the importance of a beautifully painted home and properly installed and repaired drywall. We're here to bring your vision to life. We care about providing you with a personalized, efficient, and quality service. If you live in Knoxville and surroundings, contact us for a free estimate, KaizenPainting.com. Color your life the Kaizen ways. So, Sal and Kaizen Painting, we do very much appreciate you being our third segment sponsor. I'm feeling like a champion today, just like I did a few weeks ago with softball, as Tennessee baseball goes on to win the SEC regular season title this year. As Tennessee, Rocky Top is the new SEC theme song, as Tennessee has now won in a single year the men's basketball championship in the regular season, the softball championship in the regular season, and the baseball championship in regular season. The first SEC team in the history to win all three of those in a single season. So Rocky Top is the SEC theme song right now, and everybody is absolutely loving it. I know I am. Skylar is here in the text box. All Vols fans are absolutely loving this right now, and secretly I think everybody else is as well, except for Kentucky, which Tennessee did have to share it with Kentucky, but they do become the number one seed in the SEC tournament in Hoover because they beat Kentucky head-to-head, and that was at Kentucky too. So it's not like it was a fluke, or what people would say, a fluke win in Lindsey Nelson Stadium. But going back to the midweek, Tennessee gets a 10-0 victory over Belmont in a game that Tony Vitello was actually mad at the result because Belmont decided that they did want to enforce the run rule. A lot of the midweek games, the teams don't want the run rule to go into effect because they want to get some guys some work. Belmont decided they wanted to enforce the run rule. And the sixth inning, Tennessee hits 3 solo home runs that made it 10-0. Seventh inning, Belmont did not score. So Tennessee did not get some people to get in there and get some work like Tony Vitello wanted. But, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Other than that, Tennessee, they got up early, they took care of business, and left no doubt in this midweek game, getting a 10-0 victory. A few different arms pitched in this one. As I mentioned, Vitello wanted a few more to pitch, as Dylan Noy got to start, went 2 2/3, only gave up 2 hits, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts. Garcia came in after that, pitched 1 1/3, 1 walk, and a strikeout. Matthew Dallas came in, pitched 1 inning, gave up 1 hit, and had 3 strikeouts. Phillips came in, pitched an inning, had 2 strikeouts. Austin Hundley came in, pitched 2/3 of an inning, gave up a hit, and also had a strikeout. And then Schaefer came in for a third of an inning and did not give up a hit, walk, strikeout, nothing. Just 1 batter face and got him out in 2 pitches. From the plate in this game, Christian Moore was 1 for 4 in the ball game, that 1 hit being a solo home run. Blake Burke was 1 for 3 in the contest. Billy Amick, 2 for 3 in the contest. Gavaris Tears, 1 for 3. Reese Chapman was 1 for 1. Dylan Dreiling, 1 for 2. Hunter Inslee, 1 for 2. And Colby Backus was 2 for 3 in the contest. Dean Curley also was 0 for 2, but he walked in the contest. Hunter Inslee also walked in one of his ABs. Same thing for Dylan Dreiling. Scoring for Tennessee in this one in the first inning, Billy Amick doubled to left center that brought home Christian Moore to make it 1-0. Hunter Inslee then doubled to left center later in the inning, scoring Dylan Dreiling, Kavaris Tears, and Billy Amick. Dean Curley then reached on a throwing error, and Hunter Inslee ended up scoring off of that to bring up 5 runs in the first inning. Going down to the third inning, Tennessee scores 2 as Cannon Peebles had a sac fly to left field in which Dylan Dreiling scored off of, and then Colby Backus had a single in the right side, and Hunter Inslee scored off of that one. That rounds out the scoring in the third. The sixth inning is where the rest of Tennessee's damage was dealt, as Colby Backus homered to right center, and then Christian Moore came up right after and also homered to right center. Later in the same inning, Reese Chapman came up and homered to right field. So 3 solo shots in the sixth inning rounds out the scoring for Tennessee. As I mentioned, Belmont could not muster up a run in the seventh, so that led to the run rule shortened ball game in this one. So Tennessee, as I mentioned earlier, entered the last weekend of the season, 1 game back from Kentucky, needing a sweep to really guarantee a shot, and they needed Vanderbilt to win at least 1 game this weekend for a share of the SEC title. Tennessee took care of their business. As game 1 here, Tennessee ends up winning 9-3 against South Carolina. In this one, let's see, Chris Stamos started the game as he normally does. He went 2 innings, gave up 1 run. That was a solo home run in the first inning. He had 2 walks and 2 strikeouts. And then A.J. Causey comes in and pitches 5 1/3, gives up 6 hits, 2 runs. Both of them earned a walk and 8 strikeouts. Kirby Cannell comes in and pitches 1 2/3 and shuts the door, doing what Kirby Cannell does. That was A.J. Causey's 10th win of the season. Tennessee, or as I mentioned, South Carolina went up 1-0 in the top of the first inning, but then Christian Moore started his amazing weekend with a solo home run to lead off the bottom of the first inning, tying it up, and then it was all Tennessee from there, as Christian Moore went 3 for 4 in this contest with 2 home runs. Blake Burke was 1 for 5. Billy Amick, 2 for 4. Dylan Dreiling, 1 for 3. Hunter Inslee was 0 for 1, but had 3 walks in the contest. Dylan Dreiling also walked in the game. Kavarius Tears was 1 for 4. Reese Chapman was 1 for 2, and he was 1 for 2. Cal Stark was 0 for 3, but also walked in the contest. So going down the scoring here, as I mentioned, Petrie in the top of the first inning hit a home run to put South Carolina up, but then Christian Moore comes up in the bottom of the first and hits a home run to center field. Then in the third inning, Christian Moore comes up again and homers once again for his second of the ball game, puts Tennessee up 2-1. Kavarius Tears later in the inning with a 3-run home run opposite way, as Hunter Inslee and Dylan Dreiling scored off of that to make it 5-1 Tennessee. Then in the fourth inning, Blake Burke ends up doubling to left center, scoring Cal Stark, as Tennessee scores 1 in the fourth, making it 6-1. Then in the sixth inning, Messina for South Carolina homer makes it 6-2. Then Tennessee in the seventh scores 3 more, as Billy Amick doubled down the left field line and Christian Moore scored off of it. And then very next batter, Dylan Dreiling comes up and homers to right center field, which scored Amick, as 3 more come across the plate for Tennessee, making it 9-2 at that point. South Carolina did add 1 in the 8th, but that was all that she wrote for South Carolina in game 1, as Tennessee takes care of business. Unfortunately, Kentucky also took care of business in this game, and Tennessee is still a game back at this point in the SEC title race. Game 2, Tennessee gets a victory 8-3 in this one, but it was not looking good early, as Tennessee's defense just did not show up to start this ball game. As you can see in the box score here, 4 errors. 4 errors. How often do you see 4 errors on a stat line and you end up getting a victory in the game? It's not often, especially when the other team doesn't have a single error. But Tennessee does end up pulling this one out despite those 4 errors. Look in the chat box real quick. Skeeter, we appreciate you tuning in, man. I mentioned you early on. We hope that all of your rehab and everything is going good. We know you've got a long road to recovery. We're praying for you, and we're also congratulating you already. We know you got a baby that's on the way. And yes, Tony Vitello did play his college ball in Missouri. We do give him a pass on that because of what all he has done for the Tennessee program. But man, we appreciate you tuning in, and as I mentioned, we're praying for you, keeping your family in your prayers, and we hope that this road to recovery goes smoothly. But Tennessee in this one, yeah, absolutely, Skeeter. Tennessee in this one, they go down early, 3-0 is in the second inning. That is where all the errors happened. I believe there was might have been one error in the first inning. No. There was 2 errors in the second inning here as, it was just throwing errors. There was some botched balls going on, and South Carolina scores 3 in the second inning. But then Tennessee from there, it was pretty much all Tennessee after a bit of a rocky start. As Drew Beam goes 6 innings, he did what he needed to in this game. He goes 6 innings in this one, only gives up 5 hits, 3 runs, but only one of those was earned because of the errors. 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Andrew Binky came in and pitched an inning after that, and Aaron Combs shut the door with 2 innings, did not give up a hit, run, base on ball, and had 3 strikeouts. But Binky did his job too. Also did not give up a hit, run, walk, and had 1 strikeout. Tennessee from the plate, Christian Moore once again doing his thing. 3 for 4. He also walked once. He had an RBI in the game. Blake Burke 1 for 4 with a big grand slam that I'll get to here in just a second. Billy Amick was 1 for 4 in the contest. Dylan Dreiling 1 for 4. Hunter Inslee 2 for 3 with a 3-run home run in the ball game. Kavares Tears was 1 for 4. And that rounds out the hitting side of things for Tennessee, as Cannon Peebles did walk in the contest. Going down to scoring, I mentioned in the second inning, South Carolina scored 3 runs, and that was all that South Carolina was able to score. Let's see, Tennessee also had an error in the third, but was able to survive it. But it wasn't until the 6th inning where Christian Moore struck again. The SEC Player of the Year. I know it's not official, but Christian Moore should be your SEC Player of the Year. I'll get into that here in just a little bit. But he hits a solo home run to right field to get things started. And then Billy Amick ends up singling to left field. Dylan Dreiling singling to right center. And then Hunter Inslee. This dude can hit when it counts. He doesn't have the power of a Christian Moore, of a Blake Burke, of a Billy Amick, of a Kavares Tears, a Dylan Dreiling. But this dude, when he's needed, he is there. 3-run shot to left field to give the Vols a 4-3 victory, and it was all Tennessee from there. As in the 7th, Cannon Peebles comes in and pinch hits for Reese Chapman. He walks. Cal Stark gets hit by a pitch. Christian Moore walks, and Blake Burke. New pitcher enters into the game. Rain is coming down. First pitch he sees, gone. Grand slam to right center field, and you knew it right away. Burke was fired up. Vitello was fired up. The entire team was fired up. And you could just sense it at that point. After the Hunter Inslee home run, South Carolina started having their spirits get down. But when that home run happened, it was all over with. Everything completely shifted to Tennessee at that point, and Tennessee just shut the door from there, getting the 8-3 victory in this contest. But once again, though, Vanderbilt could not take care of business as Kentucky wins Game 2. So it all comes down to the Saturday contest for both of these teams. And South Carolina gave Tennessee all they wanted in Game 3, But Tennessee gets the sweep to finish off the weekend as they win 4-1 against South Carolina. Xander Sechrist had a fantastic performance on the mound in this one as he goes 6 innings, gives up 4 hits, no runs, 4 strikeouts. Nate Snead has been the guy that when Sechrist goes, 2-3 innings, something like that, Nate Snead will come in and pitch those 5-6 innings, whatever, back behind him. This was the Xander Sechrist show today. He got in there. South Carolina was not able to touch him, and Vitello said, man, just go. Keep going, man. You're doing fantastic. Just keep doing your thing. And that's exactly what he did. Nate Snead did give up the 1 run in the ball game, and Aaron Combs came in and shut the door, gets a 1 2/3 inning save in this one with 2 strikeouts. And Tennessee finishes off with 9 straight series wins after dropping the opening series to Alabama to start the season. Just a fantastic performance from Tennessee pitching. In this contest, Christian Moore goes 1 for 4, Blake Burke 1 for 4, Billy Amick goes 1 for 4, as well as Dylan Dreiling. Kavaris Tears was 2 for 4 in this contest, and Dalton Bargo was 2 for 3 in this contest as well. Hunter Inslee was 0 for 2, but walked twice. Dean Curley 0 for 2 and walked once. Going down through the scoring here, Tennessee struck first in the 4th inning as Kavaris Tears doubled to right center field, and Hunter Inslee scored off of that one. Then the 5th inning is when the rest of the damage happened for Tennessee as Blake Burke singled to right field, and Dalton Bargo scored off of it. Billy Amick with an infield single the very next at bat that drove home Christian Moore, and then Dylan Dreiling singled up the middle, scoring Billy Amick off of that one. South Carolina did bring across a run in the 8th inning as LaCroix singled up the middle, bringing home Noland, but that was all she wrote for South Carolina in this one as Tennessee gets the series sweep 4-1. And Tennessee got to watch the last 2-3 outs, something like that, of the Kentucky-Vanderbilt game as Vanderbilt took care of business, giving Tennessee a share of the SEC title, which is exactly what we needed. And I mentioned 2 weeks ago on our show that Tennessee needed to sweep one of the last 2 series between Vanderbilt and South Carolina. I said that Vanderbilt was the more likely one because at the time, Vanderbilt was trending down. South Carolina was trending up. But since that happened, South Carolina got swept by Georgia, and that really, really took them down a few notches. So Vanderbilt steals one from Tennessee, and Tennessee gets the sweep of South Carolina, which ended up still taking care of business. So kind of opposite of the way that I predicted, but it still happened as Tennessee is your SEC champions this year. We do have one in the chat box here. Tennessee Football 247, we appreciate you tuning in. Man, it's been good over here, man. Everything is good on Rocky Top. As I mentioned, we appreciate you tuning in. But back to Christian Moore. Christian Moore should absolutely be the player of the year in the SEC. As I will pull up the stats real quick. I've got to get to it. Just bear with me for a minute. But when you compare Christian Moore's stats to Charlie Condon of Georgia and Jack Caglione of Florida in SEC play only, Christian Moore is on top of both of those. As let me get down to it here. Sorry, guys, bear with me. I cannot find it at the moment, but when you look at the stats, Tennessee or Christian Moore he is hitting better for average in SEC play. He has hit more home runs in SEC play, and he has more RBIs in SEC play than the other two. Now, both of those guys, when it comes to the overall numbers, one of those two is going to win National Player of the Year. There's no doubt in my mind. I'm going to say Charlie Condon, but Jack Caglione is right behind him. And Jack Caglione is doing it on the mound as well, which is very impressive. But SEC Player of the Year goes by SEC numbers. And when you look up SEC numbers off of that, Christian Moore should be the guy that wins the SEC Player of the Year. Is he going to? Who knows? But there is no doubt in my mind that Christian Moore should be the SEC Player of the Year. Let's see, I might have gotten to it. So overall stats for the season, Charlie Condon is far and away the better hitter, as he is hitting .451 on the season. He has 35 home runs, 75 RBIs. Jack Caglione is hitting .413 on the season with 29 home runs and 58 RBIs. Christian Moore is third on that list, hitting .388 on the season with 27 home runs and 60 RBIs. So overall, Christian Moore would not be the National Player of the Year, although he's got to be right up there with everybody else. All right, conference-only games. All right, individuals for conference-only games. Christian Moore, in SEC play, he hit .429 with 20 home runs and 41 RBIs. Charlie Condon, .412 average. He hit 19 home runs, also with 41 RBIs. Jack Caglione is not even third on the list in SEC play. Now, I will say this. Jack Caglione and Charlie Condon have absolutely insane walk numbers on this list, as Condon has been walked 28 times and Caglione has been walked 27 times. But Jack Caglione in SEC play is hitting .375. He has 15 home runs and he has 28 RBIs. So when you look at this right here, Christian Moore has just won the Triple Crown in SEC baseball, or in conference-only games. You can't sit here and convince me that Christian Moore is not the SEC Player of the Year. It will look weird at the end of the season to see that Charlie Condon or Jack Caglione is going to be the National Player of the Year, but also didn't win their Conference Player of the Year. But it's because you take all statistics for National Player of the Year, but you don't when it comes to Conference Player of the Year. Christian Moore is your SEC Player of the Year. There's no question in my mind. But we'll see what ends up happening when they come out with the awards. Also, former Vol in the MLB this past week, Jordan Beck, a.k.a. Mike Honcho, hits his first career home run in the majors, and then followed it up in the next game with another home run. So Jordan Beck is just absolutely killing it in the MLB right now. Well on his way to doing great things for the Colorado Rockies. Also, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. The Lady Vols basketball team got a big commitment this past week, if I can get it pulled up. Also, Rakia Jackson is doing some good things in the WNBA. Let me go down. Ruby Whitehorn, I believe she was from Clemson in 21 games in double figures last year at Clemson. She averages 10.8 points per game, 5.2 rebounds per game, and 1.7 assists per game. She committed to the Vols this week. She was a 2023 ACC All-Freshman Team member. She's a former McDonald's All-American. She was Michigan's Gatorade Player of the Year and Miss Basketball in high school. So another big pickup from the Lady Vols in the portal as Kim Caldwell. She is doing some fantastic things for the Lady Vols. It is starting to get really exciting for the Lady Vols program. It's a lot different from what we saw not too long ago, as the Lady Vols program was kind of spiraling a little bit after the firing of Kelly Harper. Some people didn't know what direction the program was going to go. Then Kim Caldwell got hired. There was a lot of questions about whether or not her style of offense would be able to translate. Of course, she shut that down real quick and said, I wouldn't be here if I didn't think that it would translate or that it would be successful. And she's gone out and she's gotten players that I believe will make differences right away, along with keeping all but I believe one player from last year's team. Of course, you got some that graduated, but a big pickup as Jewel Spear, or a big get as Jewel Spear comes back to add to that offense. But it's exciting times on Rocky Top. Is, next year, let's just go for the sweep. Have football win the SEC title, have men's and women's basketball win the SEC title, along with baseball and softball once again winning the SEC title. I mean, let's just go for it all and really make Rocky Top the song for the SEC. I mean, we're already playing it for all SEC championships, but let's just really make Rocky Top the SEC theme song. I'm really trying to stretch this out a little bit. Love to see Skylar hop in here for just a minute. But a couple of things that will be coming up. Skylar and I do have a lot going on this summer with our respective families. So expect some different times with some shows coming up, as well as it could be just me. It could be just Skylar, depending on what all happens. Also, we will be updating the intro video at some point, as unfortunately, I'm Evolved for Life, y'all, is the absolute perfect song for our intro. But we did have a little copyright thing pop up. It wasn't a copyright strike, but we did have a little copyright issue pop up, so we will be having to change that. And when we do, we will be updating the video, adding in the current SEC title videos, as men's basketball won it this year, so did baseball and softball. But I'm kind of holding off a little bit because I'm wanting to see if either baseball or softball or both wins the national championship, because that would be awesome to put in the video as well. But be looking out for that. Also, we will be looking forward to getting into some football stuff coming up. Is we've got some, we haven't got anything confirmed, but we got some guests that we're trying to come on for the summer a little bit. We'll try to keep you guys updated on that. We're going to try to stay active on the social medias as well to keep you guys updated. And that's a big thing. Follow us on Twitter and on Facebook, especially Instagram as well. That is where we will try to keep you guys updated on the show times and who will be hosting that day. We're really hoping that it's both of us each and every show, but stuff in life comes up. We don't do this for a living. We're just having fun while doing this, trying to deliver our love of Tennessee sports to you guys. So, unfortunately, there will be times that we either have to cancel the show for that week, or one of us will be on, but the other one cannot. Just different situations like that. But we're really we really enjoy doing this. We hope that you guys do as well. I'm gonna send a message to Skylar. Or Skylar, if you're in the chat, let me know if you're close. I'll try to hang on, but I'm running out of things to talk about, man. But this is one of the best athletic years on Rocky Top that I can remember. As you know, Tennessee football is back where they need to be. You know, really hoping for a playoff spot this year. And that's another thing. Skylar and I will be talking about football coming up. We're going to go ahead and kind of break down games once baseball and softball are over with. We can really start breaking down individual games, breaking down the schedule, kind of give our predictions on what we think is going to happen this upcoming season. But really hoping that football gets into a playoff spot this year, as it is a 12-team playoff. That would be awesome. Men's and women's basketball are both on the up and up, as Tennessee is still on commitment watch for Chaz Lanier. He is still going through the draft process. It is down to Tennessee and Kentucky for Chaz Lanier. There has been talk that if he goes after money, he will be going to Kentucky. If he is looking for development, he will be at Tennessee. So we really love to have him on the team, but I feel like Tennessee has got a solid team right now, even without him. Just listening to Brian Rice and Eric Ainge on the Eric Ainge Show, they pretty much hit the nail on the head. Adding Chaz Lanier ups your ceiling a little bit, but you're still looking at should be an Elite Eight type team. As far as the ceiling goes, you should be Elite Eight, Final Four without him, but with him will just make next year that much better. Your ceiling or your floor is probably a little bit lower without him than it would be with him. All right, Catherine. I'm going to try to talk for 10 minutes because I'd love to have Skylar in for just a few minutes anyway. But Catherine, glad that hope if you're not home, hope that you get the last few minutes in safely. But if you are home, glad that y'all made it home safely. Thank you for letting me know that. So I will try to just shoot the bull for the next few minutes so that he can join in. But Tennessee's floor is probably a little bit lower without Chaz Lanier, but I still say it should be a Sweet 16 team, even without him at the worst. At the very worst, maybe a round of 32 exit. But this Tennessee team under Rick Barnes, I have no doubts about this team. Ladies basketball, with the moves that Kim Caldwell has made so far, I think that it very well could be a Sweet 16 team at the absolute worst. We know that women's basketball in the SEC, especially here lately, has been unbelievable. So that is still a tall task. But she came in looking for the challenge, and that's why she decided to make the move to Tennessee, or why she was interested in the job. And Danny White ended up hiring her. So it is definitely something that Kim Caldwell is looking for, not just to make the Sweet 16, but to go further. And I think if you give her the resources, you give her the time, she can absolutely do that for this program. Baseball, man, as long as Tony Vitello's here, I have no problems with the baseball team. They are going to be competing regardless. As man, it is. I don't know if I can get it pulled up, but the numbers that I have seen from Tennessee baseball with Tony Vitello here, it is just absolutely unbelievable. And I can also pull up the tournament bracket to show you guys as well. In fact, let me do that real quick. Let's see. All right, so this is the SEC tournament bracket for this coming week. As you see there, Tennessee is your number 1 seed. They will play the winner of Vanderbilt and Florida on Wednesday at 4:30. That is on. All games are at least on SEC Network. Matter of fact, all games except the championship will be on SEC Network. But Tennessee does not play until Wednesday. They play the winner of Vanderbilt and Florida. You look up there, Arkansas is the number 2 seed. They will play the winner of Alabama and South Carolina. Kentucky is your 3 seed, and I hope that me and Skylar can talk about this when he comes on. How in the world is Kentucky the 3 seed whenever Kentucky won the series against Arkansas and also finished ahead of Arkansas? That's a bit of a head scratcher for me, but I'm not sure on that one. But Kentucky will play the winner of Georgia and LSU, and Texas A&M, the 4 seed, will play the winner of Mississippi State and Ole Miss. So the Egg Bowl in baseball will be the opening game, Game 4 down there, as Auburn and Alabama, Auburn and Missouri were the 2 teams that did not make the SEC tournament. As in this year, the final year of this format, the bottom 2 teams in the SEC do not make the SEC tournament. But Tennessee, win or lose, will play on Thursday. And then if you win, all right, so we'll go through the scenario here. If Tennessee wins against either Vanderbilt or Florida, they will play on Thursday. That game will be 30 minutes after Game 11 finishes, which would be the winner of the Game 5 and Game 6 in the top of the bracket. So that would be an evening game or a night game on SEC Network. And then if you win that one, let's see, you automatically move on to Saturday if you win that one. So it would be big to win the first 2 games because then you automatically move into the Final 4. If you lose Game 7, which is Tennessee's first game, then you would play 30 minutes after the first game on Thursday, and then you would have to turn around on Friday, and you would have to play 30 minutes after Game 13. So it is important to win 2 in a row so that you get to skip out on Friday altogether and move on to Saturday. But I'm going to wait on Skylar to get in here, and we'll kind of give our predictions a little bit on who we think will advance and where. But the numbers on Tony Vitello since he has come to Tennessee are just unbelievable, as this is Tennessee's second SEC title in 3 seasons. They have gone to the College World Series 2 out of the last 3 years. They have won at least 40 games, all but his first year on Rocky Top, if I'm not mistaken. You also, let's see, he has tied the school record for most consecutive series won. That was tied with the 2022 team. Tony Vitello has done fantastic things on Rocky Top, and I've got no issues with the Tennessee baseball team as long as he is there. And then Karen Weekly, she has been doing it for a long time on Rocky Top. Most of it beside her was Ralph Weekly, her husband. He did step away a couple years ago, but she has just stepped right in and filled a fantastic role there. I believe it's over 1,700 career wins that she got to earlier this year. So it is just absolutely unbelievable what Tennessee is doing in the main sports, and that's not to mention the other sports as well. I mentioned men's and women's tennis earlier this year, or earlier in the show. Men's golf is unbelievable right now. Women's golf just barely missed out on the NCAA tournament. The rowing team is top 5 in the nation. We saw track and field. You had 2 relay teams win the SEC championships. I forgot to mention that. I mean, Tennessee sports all the way around are just doing fantastic. So I believe I've rambled on enough, as we have got somebody that is ready to come in now. Well, I thought we did. I think he's got to back out and try again. A few issues on it. Let's see. There he is.
We are here. We are here. Coming from the Central Time Zone to the Eastern Time Zone, about a 4.5 hour drive. We have made it.
Man, it's glad. I'm glad to see you, man. I hate that we ended up not being able to do the whole thing, but you had texted me earlier today, and you said, "Man, it's looking like 9:30 Eastern." You wasn't gonna feel like doing an entire show by the time you got here.
No, dude. I mean, I wanted to talk ball. I mean, we missed last week. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. So thank you very much for that. But I didn't want to go back-to-back weeks not doing a show, so I really felt bad about being gone. But, hey, shout out to my boy Pelfrey. It was his birthday today, May 19th, turned a big 2-4. So we went and celebrated him today, and his lunch was 2 o'clock Central. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's easy. And then I'm like, wait a minute. I live in the Eastern Time Zone. That's like 3 o'clock where I live. And I'm like, crap, and before you realize it, time gets away from me. But what's up, Chastity? We have made it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Michael, dude, I'm sorry. I lost service. I've got like a 30-minute dead zone right before I get to the house. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to hope that his big mouth can keep talking long enough till I get home, unhook the boat, run inside. The wife is actually still unloading the truck right now. So shout out to my wife. We're here. I wanted to talk ball because, man, Christian Moore, I just want to come on. I'm sure you talked about it. That kid's got to be SEC Player of the Year. All right.
Oh, yeah.
I know it. Charlie Condon's got like 40 home runs. That's a little exaggerated. But, like, you've got to look at what Christian Moore has done in the SEC. And I believe he leads in the big 3 categories, in RBI, batting average, and in home runs. How can you argue against that, dude?
Yeah, I've already said my piece on that, but I'll pull these stats back up real quick just so we can go through them together. So Christian Moore in SEC games alone, he is batting .429
monster
with 20 home runs and 41 RBIs.
That's insane.
Charlie Condon is not too far behind.
No, not at all.
Batting .412 with 41 RBIs, so the same amount as Christian Moore, and 19 home runs. Now, I will give Condon this, and same thing with Caglione. Condon has been walked 28 times. Christian Moore has only been walked 6, but that shows that Christian Moore, by not being walked that many times, he is taking advantage of his at-bats.
Because I was going to say, yeah, he's getting hits. I mean, not just because everything's a home run, but secondly, when it comes to the RBI thing, I want to talk about this. Where does Charlie Condon hit in his lineup?
That's a good question. I really don't know. I think he's batting cleanup. Is he
third?
Third
I think he's second or third. I don't think he's fourth. And excuse me for not knowing this. I know we played Georgia, and I should have remembered this, but you're talking about Christian Moore, who's got just as many RBIs, and he's hitting in the leadoff spot.
Yes.
So it's even harder for him to get the RBIs. And yet, so look, I know you're kind of, glimpse, but I think a tiebreaker, and that's how I'm going to honestly count it as. If you got a tie between Charlie and Christian, right? It's got to go to the better team at that point, right? I mean, that's what they do with football, right? If 2 equally talented quarterbacks, right? Who's going the furthest? And that's usually who the Heisman goes to, is it not?
Most of the time.
So I think it's got to be Christian Moore.
And, until game 3 of both of the series this weekend, Christian Moore did have the Triple Crown. Now, Charlie Condon ended up tying him in the RBIs. So, Christian Moore doesn't get the Triple Crown on that. But still, he's leading in batting average and in home runs, and you're tied at the top of RBIs.
I think Christian Moore in the last 2 SEC series against Vanderbilt and South Carolina He's either got 5 or 6 home runs. I want to say it's 6, but I think it's 5.
He's got 5. He homered in Game 1 and Game 2 of Vanderbilt.
I was hoping he got 2. Okay.
Yeah, he did not in Game 3 because we didn't score. Dylan Dreiling had all 3 hits.
Yep. That's an underrated name we should talk about, by the way, after this segment. But go ahead.
Yeah. Then he homered twice in Game 1 against South Carolina, and then once in Game 2. And that was the home run that sparked the comeback in Game 2. So, yeah, he was unbelievable over the last 2 series. But man, let's talk about Dylan Dreiling for a minute because he went through a cold spell before the Vanderbilt series, and these last 2 series, man, Dylan Dreiling, he has been ripping the ball. He had 7 total hits in the Vanderbilt series.
I think it was 7 for 12.
Yeah.
I mean, he was tearing it up. That kid's found his way. I mean, he was kind of dropping in the lineup, and now all of a sudden he's hitting cleanup, and rightfully so. That kid's on fire. He's kind of been a constant here lately, and like you mentioned, we only had 3 hits against Vanderbilt on that Sunday game or the rubber match. I think it was on Sunday. And he had all 3 hits. I mean, it was just one of those things where if you're Vanderbilt, you almost want to walk him to keep the no-hitter going. You sacrifice the perfect game to keep the no-hitter. But, no, Dylan Dreiling's been a guy who just kind of out of nowhere kind of been sneaking around, having one of the better seasons in the SEC. And honestly, it's kind of a name that you wouldn't think of right off the bat. I mean, obviously, you think of Billy Amick, Christian Moore, Blake Burke. But, here lately, it's been Dylan Dreiling who's been tearing it up on the stat sheet.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you mentioned Blake Burke right there. Man, what about the grand slam in Game 2?
He needed that. As much as we needed it, he needed it. And the reason why I say that is I believe he was 0 for 3 before that at bat, and he jumped all over the first pitch. And then it's almost like it brought his confidence back. I believe I heard that ball traveled over 440 feet.
So I actually saw a cool thing today on Twitter that his mom, Natalie, retweeted. So these people actually were leaving the ball game. They had somewhere that they had to go. They couldn't stay for the whole thing. And they're walking by the outside there. And all of a sudden, this baseball comes flying over the batting eye. By the time they picked it up, they did their location on Google Maps. Where they picked it up, they traced it back to home plate on Lindsey Nelson Stadium. 481 feet. That includes the roll afterwards. 481 feet is how far that ball went.
That is insane. Just a mammoth of a shot. And he knew it. I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised. I'm totally okay with the celebration, but I'm surprised he didn't get ejected from the game. Y'all all know, if y'all seen the home run, he hit the ball. He looks at the dugout and hits him with the hold. That right there. I loved it because he did it toward our dugout, not toward theirs. Yes. And I think that's what saved him from getting ejected. But that was the reminiscent 2022 chip on your shoulder type volunteer team, which made baseball exciting to watch. And, obviously the fun referees, the no fun referees, obviously took care of that issue, tried to narrow it down, and then kind of took the fun out of it again. But it looks like they're kind of loosening up, letting the boys play ball as long as they're not doing it directly toward the opposing team. And no, Blake Burke had every reason to do that, jumped all over the first pitch, grand salami, which not only did he need that for us, for him, that also broke the school record for grand slams in a season. So,
well, not just a school record, but the SEC record that was previously held by LSU.
Okay,
so,
my fault. I was thinking that was a school record for some reason, but no, thank you so much for correcting me on that. I mean, it's just a historical season and what's kind of been a quiet historical season. It's not been, we talked about this in preseason. I'm like, man, this team's not going to be that knock your socks off 42-8 team. And like, here we are. They actually are pretty daggum close to it. I mean, I think they're 22-8 now in the SEC. They locked up a co-share of the SEC, but unfortunately for Kentucky fans, they understand they're number 2, and not only number 2, they're number 3. Unfortunately, with the way the bracketology is, we beat them head to head in the series, so obviously we're going to claim that championship. They get rings, and credit to them. They had a great season, but unfortunately, when you're co-champions with a team that beat you head up, you're not champions. All right, that's just how I feel. That's how it is. But credit to them for the baseball rules and how they get a ring, and they do get to hang their banner up. And but no, we're gonna proudly take this SEC championship.
Absolutely. So I do want to talk a little bit more about that, but there's one more player that I want to talk to you about before we move on to the bracket for the SEC.
Let me guess it.
Okay.
AJ.
Well, okay, that's a good one to bring up too. But I was actually thinking of somebody he stepped up big in the South Carolina series as well.
Hey, hold up. Stepped up big in Kavars Tears. No. Hey, hold up. Hunter Inslee. There it is. I knew I'd get there.
This guy, I mentioned it earlier. He's not the power hitter of Christian Moore, of Blake Burke, Billy Amick, Kavars Tears, Dylan Dreiling. But that dude, when he is up at the plate and the at-bat matters, he is clutch.
Is that not where experience kicks in?
Yeah, I believe so.
Because the kid's obviously not as uber talented as the rest of the lineup, but he's been around for a couple of years. And I think that helps him in these clutch at-bats, in these extended at-bats. I mean, he has great at-bats. It's hard to get him to go through, a three-pitch, at-bat. He's battling, getting foul balls whenever he can. But to your point, yeah, I mean, he has been clutch. And what was it? Was it the 3-run homer that he it took the lead with it, didn't he?
Yeah, so Christian Moore led off the inning with a solo home run.
Yeah.
And Tennessee gets Billy Amick on, Dylan Dreiling on, and then Hunter Inslee with a 3-run shot that gives Tennessee the lead. And I mentioned it earlier, that right there, you could see South Carolina start to be like, man, that this just happened. And then it was the next inning when Blake Burke hits the grand slam, and that was just the dagger in South Carolina's hearts. But you know who Hunter Inslee reminds me of a little bit?
Previous player, former player?
Yes.
From the 22 team?
Ago. Yep.
From the 22 team? Hunter Inslee, that dog, the third baseman, had 3 home runs in the game against Vanderbilt. I'm blanking on the name. Not Trey Lipscomb. That was the 23 team, I thought. But, gosh, I can't think of his name, bro. Anyways, go ahead. Go with your point.
Well, I was going to say a less fiery Drew Gilbert.
Nah, I wasn't going to go there. Really?
Look, this is my thing. So Drew Gilbert, when he was on the team, he was a fiery player. He was that vocal leader. But every time that he came up to the plate when it mattered, dude was there. It didn't have to be a home run, but he was going to make something happen. Hunter Inslee is not that vocal leader. He's not that fiery guy, but same deal. When he comes up to the plate and the at-bat matters, he's going to pull through more times than not.
I agree.
So that's my comparison there. And yeah, they're two totally different personalities. But as far as their ability to step up when the game matters, that's where I find the comparison very similar between Drew Gilbert and Hunter Inslee. And they both play center field.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could see that. I wasn't going to go Drew Gilbert because of how fiery he was. And Hunter Inslee kind of seems more like, I know he's a vocal leader, but he doesn't seem to be like showing his emotions that much on the field.
I think I know who you were thinking of now. It was actually the 21 team, Jake Rucker. Is that who you were thinking of?
Maybe, but it was number 6, dude. I can't think of his name. It's not Jake Rucker.
We'll think of it at some point.
It will, but it's eating me up that I can't think of it now. You put me on the spot. But anyways, I want to talk about, and I know you've already talked about it, but I kind of want to reiterate the resilience of this team.
Yes.
Doing what they had to do to give themselves a chance and then getting rewarded for it, right? They went into this last weekend having to sweep, right? You had to sweep to give yourself a chance because you knew Kentucky wouldn't drop in 2 to Vanderbilt.
But you had also hoped that Vanderbilt, a down Vanderbilt team, would even win one. But you're absolutely right. You had to sweep to give yourself that chance.
And you had to sweep a top 25 program. I mean, that's not easy, especially with our pitching, our lineup. Look, we're a really good team, but we're not a team that's just going to sweep kids. Like, we just don't have, for some reason, we can't put it all together for a weekend most of the time. However, in this situation, we kind of took care of business and had a couple scares, but we came back very strong. Made sure we had the lead into the 7th inning, which is kind of key, as a broadcaster pointed out, that we are actually 1-6 when losing after 7. So that's something to look forward to in the postseason to make sure that we're winning after 7. But Tennessee to go out there and get the sweep over South Carolina and then getting rewarded yesterday by Vanderbilt just pulling out 1 and beat them pretty badly, 12-4 over Kentucky. that game was so monumental because Kentucky went from a number 1 seed in the in the tournament to number 3 seed. So for the folks that don't know this, I don't know if you explain this, but the way the tournament works is the first 2 seeds actually go to the East and the West Conference champions. So
okay, so that's where because I didn't know that's where it came in.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier, I was like, how in the world does Kentucky? They beat Arkansas 2-1 earlier this year.
Yep.
And they still end up a 3 seed, even though they tied with Tennessee. So I did not know that's how that worked. So you just answered my question.
Yep. So the way the tournament works is the 1 seed goes to the best overall East or West, and then the second overall goes to the other side, right? So that's how Tennessee was able to be a number 1 seed. Kentucky gets knocked back to a 3 seed because they're the second place team in the East, technically. I know they're co-champions, but we beat them head to head. So, I mean, that's how it all works. I don't really understand why there isn't a tiebreaker in baseball. I know there's some cases where the teams don't play head to head, and so maybe that's why. But I think that should be the exception on, okay, we can do co-champion at this point because they never played each other, give them both rings. But in this situation where both teams played, I don't see how there's a co-champion. But regardless, they're not going to change the rule for us this year, and I don't want them to. But Kentucky knows they had a chance to close it out and be the sole champions, and they couldn't do that. And once again, Tennessee's there to ruin their season. Because everybody's going to know this, right? Everybody's going to look back, and Kentucky's going to have that banner hung. But right next to them is going to be Tennessee co-champions, and we beat them head-to-head. I mean, nobody's going to look at that and say, yeah, Kentucky was the champion, of the 24 season. So it's tough. But look, guys, you talking about a golden era of Tennessee sports. Basketball, check. Softball, check. Baseball, check. Hey,
the
football.
old school in SEC
Football, how we
history.
doing?
Yeah. Hey,
I mean,
basketball, too. I went on a little bit of a rambling thing waiting on you to come in about women's basketball. The moves that Kim Caldwell has made this offseason so far, it's got me excited for women's basketball next year because football, they're right on the brink of being in the playoffs, start the 12-team playoffs this year. If you win 10 games, you're not guaranteed in, but it's pretty dang close that you're going to be in if you win 10 games.
I know this ain't the academic year, but if you look at 2024 from a Tennessee fan perspective, we have a chance to win 4 of the Big 5 athletic championships in the SEC, and we're just needing football to come through. And the only one that wouldn't, if that were to be the case, now that's a big ask, but if that were to be the case, it would only be the women's basketball team, which would honestly you would think would be one of the likelier teams to get the SEC championship, but with South Carolina on the run that they are on, Kim Mulkey got LSU rolling. It's kind of it's hard. And Tennessee, Lady Vols, even with their woes this year, whatnot, they still finished 4th. I mean, they weren't that bad, but it just wasn't getting the job done, right? So they had to make a move. But 2024, guys, this is and we knew it. We knew it before the season started, especially in baseball and softball. Like, these teams have one goal and one goal only, and that's to win it all. Like that's really where they're at. I mean, I said it earlier in the year. I thought baseball was overrated, but I knew we didn't have that sweep factor. But now here we are at the end of the season, and we pulled off a sweep to clinch a share of the SEC title, and making me kind of put a boot in my mouth a little bit. And I'm excited, man. We got our Friday night guy, AJ Russell, coming back for the tournament. I'm really hoping that he comes back in a big way. I think he will. Maybe give us 3 or 4 innings, just kind of get him warmed back up to gain speed, and maybe come back in the championship game if we make it. Who knows? Really looking forward to that, seeing how it plays out.
Yeah, and I hadn't even touched on that yet, but Tony Vitello did announce that he would be available for the tournament.
Yeah.
They tried to bring him back a little bit early this year, and he ended up getting re-injured, which is why he hadn't been in there. But now they've waited until they're sure that he can come back and make an impact. I don't think he's going to go, 7 innings like they kind of expected him to early. But if he can give you 4, maybe 5 innings strong in a game, hey, your bullpen is taking care of business this year. And
what about Aaron Combs?
Dude, when you've got guys like Aaron Combs and Kirby Cannell in the back end of that bullpen.
Nate Snead kind of got roughed up, but Nate Snead's been solid, dude.
And, I touched on that a little bit earlier. Most of the season, at least for the last 4 or 5 series, it's been Xander Sechrist going 2, maybe 3 innings, and then Nate Snead doing kind of like A.J. Causey on the Thursday or Friday nights, going about 5 or 6 innings. Man, South Carolina struggled with Xander Sechrist, so Vitello said, hey, you keep going, man.
Yep.
And he went 6 innings. Nate Snead came in for an inning and a third, got roughed up a little bit, but then Aaron Combs was right there to shut the door, gets the 1 2/3 inning save. I mean,
is it Xander Sechrist has got the left-handed kind of like sideways arm slot pitching style?
Yeah, he's kind of the left-handed version of A.J. Causey as far as the arm slot.
Yeah, you bring him in after a guy that's throwing a little bit of gas. I mean, it's just it throws no matter how much film you do, it throws the batters off for a loop because it's a completely different look, right? And so I think Tony knew what he was doing when he obviously you don't know what you got. We don't know what you got preseason going into the first couple of games, but I think Tony knew what he had. And to be honest with you, even though to us it looks like he's kind of been shuffling it around a little bit, I think it's all been kind of like a really methodical way of going about his lineup in the pitching rotation. And they got one of the best pitching coaches in the game. Let's be honest. And
Frank we trust.
Yeah, dude, and Frank we trust. And I love that when he goes out there on the mound, it's like, okay, they're going to have a good conversation. Then it's like when Tony comes out the mound, it's like, oh, that guy's gone. Like, it's over. It's just the way they are, dude. No, it's solid. I'm loving that we're getting healthy at the right time, getting hot at the right time, because in baseball, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we get out of here, I want to do a little look at the tournament bracket here. Kind of give a little prediction of what we think is going to happen. Of course, you got game 1 at 9:30 a.m. And man, this is what I love about baseball. When it comes to baseball tournaments like this, you literally get all day long baseball. I mean, you start
2 days in a row. Games are starting in the morning at 9:30 a.m. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, I mean, you get it all day long. So
it's kind of like a March Madness feel, but in baseball.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, so you got Georgia and LSU in game 1. I'm going to take the hot team. Although LSU has been hot as of late, I think they might have swept Ole Miss this weekend. I know they at least took 2 out of 3.
I could see a massive upset here. I could see LSU pulling it. Tommy White's got that team rolling, dude.
Yeah, we talked a few weeks ago that LSU was looking to be out of the tournament, and then all of a sudden from that point on, they won
2 of the last 3 series, dude. And I think they swept a team as well on the way to doing that. They were on like a 5 or 6 game winning streak at one point.
And they took at least 2 out of 3 from A&M. That might have been a team that they swept was A&M.
It might have been, dude. I'm telling you, they were beating a quality A&M team who just took the series against Arkansas. So I mean, it's kind of weird, dude. And this is why the SEC tournament, man, I'm looking forward to this right here more than I'm looking forward to Tennessee's regional.
Yeah,
that's just how it is, man. Like it's. I don't know why. I was the same way with the Lady Vol softball, and then we went 1 and done. Really, really hurt my feelings, man. I'm glad we didn't go live last week because I'd have been a dark episode, dude. I was mad, bro. And it was the way that they lost that game. I know you talked about. We won't go on a tangent, but I mean, your offense just had to do something, dude.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. But anyways, I guess my prediction, yeah, why not? Give me LSU over Georgia. In game 1, and then Alabama, South Carolina. This is tough, dude, because I haven't watched these teams really a lot.
Well, with game 1, I'm going to take Georgia over LSU. Both of these teams are hot, but I am going to take one of the better players in Charlie Condon to step up and help this team get past LSU in game 1. Game 2, this is 2 teams that are going in the same direction. They are both going down. They're trending down. Alabama dropped the series to Auburn this past weekend, who didn't even make the tournament. To Auburn.
To who?
Yeah.
Bro, is that their only series win this year?
You might be right on that. They might have taken the series against Missouri. Auburn might have, but I can't remember.
Crazy. Tennessee's only series loss this season was to Alabama.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyways, proceed.
I think I'm going to take South Carolina to beat Alabama in this one.
Even after getting swept, huh?
Yeah, I did see some things that I liked from South Carolina, even though Tennessee took advantage of them. But I think I'm going to take South Carolina because they've also got some tournament experience with their head coach. So
I'm going to be complete opposite from you, brother. I'm going to take Bama. I think Bama might try to. The reason why I took LSU, all right, is I feel like they needed it more than Georgia as far as long term. I don't know if it's really going to help them out or not, but I do feel like they need it. But in Alabama versus South Carolina, I just didn't like what I seen from South Carolina against Tennessee. I mean, they showed a little bit of fight. Don't get me wrong. And their pitching is pretty good, actually. But, not in the pen. And so I think Alabama could be a little bit better out of the bullpen. And thus, I think a lot of these teams, especially in the first round, they're going to show a lot of arms. I think they're going to try to conserve arms, throw a lot of different arms, try to keep the offense on their toes. Give me Alabama in game 2.
That's fair. Game 3, you got Vanderbilt in Florida.
I'm intrigued on your answer on this one.
So this is the way that it's going to go.
This is actually, I think, my favorite matchup of the first round.
I think I agree with you because if Vanderbilt can hold off Florida's offense and score a few runs early in the game, then they've got a chance. But if Florida jumps all over Vanderbilt early, then the game's over because Vanderbilt's bullpen is awful.
And didn't Florida win the series against these two teams earlier in the season?
I think you might be right.
I think they did. I think they did because I think this was the series that Jack Caglione hit home runs and then struck out 10. I don't know. He had a great day. It was the game 3 game. I think that was the series that Jack Caglione just kind of took over.
I think I'm going to take Florida in this one.
Damn it, that's a team I want. You know what? For a reason though, I want to stay opposite. You can't go against Tim Corbin tournament play. So give me Vanderbilt.
Yeah, that's very fair. Then you got the Egg Bowl in baseball. You've got an Ole Miss team that just got beat by LSU.
Yeah,
like I said, I can't remember if it was a sweep or if it was 2 out of 3 that LSU took. But you've got an Ole Miss team that was hot really early, but has struggled as of late. I think Mississippi State is going to easily take this game.
This is the game we're going to agree on. Mississippi State better win this. If they don't, this will be one of the bigger upsets, obviously, in tournament history, as it would literally be the highest seeded team against the lowest seeded team in the first round. So give me Mississippi State. Mississippi State's been a solid team. They're ranked very, very high. You've got 5 SEC teams that I believe are in the top 15. I could be wrong on that. But obviously you got Tennessee, Kentucky, Arkansas, A&M in the top 5. And then right there, I think just outside the top 10 is Mississippi State.
I think Georgia might also be top 15. I know for sure they're top 20.
Yeah, I think you're right on that, but I didn't want to say that and be completely wrong. Dude, I literally just walked in. I turned on the light and joined the pod. So that's my fault. Everything I'm saying, I've got no notes. So I hope the show is decent. All right. But no, I think so. First round, I'm going to do the recap here for you. First round, you got Georgia, you've got South Carolina, you got Florida, you got Mississippi State. And then for me, I've got LSU getting the big upset over Georgia. I've got Alabama. I've got Vanderbilt. I've got Mississippi State. You've got those written down. You got those noted. I don't know what we're playing for, but it's going to be fun.
This is just for fun, but yeah, I've got them written down. So the Wednesday matchups, you've got you have Kentucky against LSU. I have Kentucky against Georgia. I am going to take Kentucky in this one. I mean, I've been wanting teams to beat Kentucky all year long, but all they have done is
I'm telling you, it's dangerous to do that because they've been pretty good this year.
All they have done is win, except in the Tennessee series, and even that one they took game 1. So I mean, give me Kentucky over Georgia.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. Even though I got LSU, give me Kentucky over LSU. I just think at the end of the day, Kentucky's got some pretty good arms, but they got really good offense, and they don't have to rely on the long ball to get the offense done. So, give me Kentucky.
All right, so I guess it's technically game 6, but game 2 on Wednesday. I have South Carolina against Arkansas. You have Alabama against Arkansas. I am going to take Arkansas to win in this one, but here's what scares me about Arkansas. Their pitching is fantastic. I think they have the second lowest ERA in the SEC behind A&M. I could be wrong on that, but their offense is not that great. They don't score a whole lot of runs, which could come back to hurt them later. I do think that they win this game, but it could hurt them in the rest of the SEC tournament and going into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to take Arkansas as well. I think that's just easy. Arkansas has been a solid team. I haven't really watched them or studied them because I don't think Tennessee played Arkansas this year.
No, they didn't.
But I think Arkansas is a better team than Alabama, and like we've both been kind of talking about, you took South Carolina, but both those teams have kind of been in a downward trend, especially South Carolina, man, getting swept in the last weekend series. That's got to sting a little bit. But maybe that gives them some motivation, some confidence going into the tournament. But I still think Arkansas is just too much of a team coming out of the West and takes care of business.
Yep. And we can pretty much skip over Game 7 because, we're both going to have Tennessee here.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. In that case, we can skip Game 7, 11, 14.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
Here's my – so I had Florida winning in Game 3. You had Vanderbilt. I do think that Florida is a little bit better matchup for Tennessee because I really think that Tennessee, looking back at it, would have swept Florida if it wasn't for having to play the doubleheader on Friday.
Yeah, I think Vanderbilt poses a bigger threat, but I'm hoping that Tennessee is very motivated. I think with them having that whole co-champion title, I hope that motivates the firecracker out of our team to take care of business in the championship and own the championship as well. But I do think I still credit the regular season way more than I credit the tournament.
Yes.
Because man, a season is 2, 3, 4 months worth of work. Not a weekend, not a week. But
absolutely.
Overall, this I think this is going to end up, and I'm going to kind of show my cards a little bit, but I'm hoping, and it's not going to end up being like this because I think Kentucky's going to drop one. But I would love for this to come down to a Tennessee-Kentucky showdown and actually determine who is the champion. That would be kind of cool.
That would be cool, but that also kind of scares me a little bit.
It doesn't scare me one bit. I'm just we own Kentucky, brother, like all day long. I ain't worried.
True. So Game 8, Texas A&M, both of us have against Mississippi State. I'll let you go first on this one. See what you think.
I appreciate that. I think A&M's hot. Give me A&M. A&M just took 2 over Arkansas, and A&M's trending in the right direction. A&M's a solid team, has been a solid program here for the last several years, kind of like Tennessee has been. And maybe they can make a deep run here in this tournament. So give me A&M.
Yeah, A&M was really, really hot early. They ended up being the number 1 team in the nation for a while. Then they cooled off. You dropped that series to LSU.
Right, exactly.
I think they dropped a second series somewhere in there. But you're right. They came back and they beat a very good Arkansas team this past weekend. It's a Mississippi State team that has been chugging along. They haven't done anything necessarily impressive like some of the other teams have, but they also really hadn't done anything to kind of put them on the radar as a team that could bust out. So I'm actually going to take Mississippi State in this one.
Go for it, man. I think that's a good pick. I'm kind of battling myself just because I think Arkansas, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, were those not like the top 3 predicted preseason for the SEC, the top 3 teams? I
believe they were the top 3 teams in the West. Florida, I believe, was the preseason favorite to win the SEC.
Wow, they missed that one by a hot shot. That's okay. That's got to be some of that Jack Caglione, and who's their head coach out there?
I can't remember their head coach now.
I know him, but I don't like him. I don't know why I don't like him. I think it's just his demeanor in the dugout. I don't know. Probably a cool dude if I met him, but I just, on TV, I don't like you. All right. Sorry. Yeah. Anyways, no, I like that pick, Mississippi State over A&M. I think that'll probably be the best matchup of the second round.
Yeah, I think it very well could be.
Yeah, I like that matchup. So,
right. So the top half is going to be losers bracket. This is win or go home here.
Yep.
So we both have Let's see. You have LSU, and I've got Georgia facing off against, let's see, both of us have, you got Alabama. I have got South Carolina.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, okay.
All right, so you've got Alabama versus LSU.
Give me LSU all day long, advancing.
Yep, I think I would pick that as well. I have got Georgia against South Carolina. Give me the hotter team. Give me Georgia in this one.
Wait. Whoa. Yeah. Because we both had our teams lose in Kentucky. I'm trying to look at this blank and keep up, but I got this. All right, we're good.
Yeah.
Yes. That's an easy pick. That's an easy pick. Of course you're taking Georgia.
Yeah, the only way I'm able to keep up with this because I got it written down.
Yeah, dude. Oh, God. I'm doing a decent job, but that one confused me there for a second.
All right, so Game 7,
yes.
You have Game 10, you've got the Game 7 loser. You have got Vanderbilt.
Yes.
I have got Florida. And the Game 8 loser, you have got Mississippi State. I have got Texas A&M. So you have Mississippi State versus Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I think Mississippi State handles Vanderbilt.
I agree with that, and I'm going to take A&M over Florida.
I feel like you got easier picks on this one. I don't know if that means you're doing it correctly, but it's kind of messed up. But whatever. Yeah, 100%.
But I think it also depends on now if Florida saves Caglione for this game, which could very well be possible. Then I could see Florida, as long as they can get the hits against A&M, pulling off the upset. But
I am very intrigued on how coaches work their pitching rotations because, when it comes tournament time, they swap it up because you got coaches that want to guarantee the first round win so they ain't got to worry about the stress and whatnot. But then you got other coaches that try to stick to that weekend rotation for the tournament. And then sometimes that costs you a win in the beginning. So very intrigued to see the tactics play out here in this tournament starting Tuesday.
Yep, I agree with you 100%. So we've got the winner of Game 5. Both of us had Kentucky in this one. Against the winner of Game 6, both of us had Arkansas. This is a rematch of an earlier matchup.
I love this game. Looking forward to it. But I think Arkansas pulls the upset on Kentucky.
You think Arkansas?
Yeah, they're going to have a chip on their shoulder losing the last series of the season to A&M. Could cost them. In the national seeding by a spot or two.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that, but you know what? I'm going to go Kentucky because Kentucky went to Arkansas and took that series 2 out of 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
This is a neutral site game that I think gives Kentucky the advantage again. So I'm going to give
somebody really learned their lesson voting or rooting against Kentucky is what I'm hearing.
A little bit, yeah. But I got Kentucky beating Arkansas in this one. So that leaves us with Tennessee against you had A&M. I've got Mississippi State.
Yeah, give me the Vols, brother. That's easy.
Yeah, I will say I am more nervous about the matchup that you have against A&M for Tennessee 100%. Than I am the Mississippi State one. So I'm also taking the Vols, but neither one of them are going to be easy games.
I'm being a homer on this one, but I do feel like we have a really good team. I want them to win. I want them to win, but knowing our teams in the SEC tournament here lately, I mean, Tennessee won it last year, don't get me wrong, but not last year before last, right?
Yeah, year before last.
But the whole the basketball debacle and then the way the softball did it, I really do feel like that baseball could actually go 1 or maybe 2 and done. Well, they can't go 2 and done because they go in the losers bracket. But either way, I'm kind of nervous that we won't make it too deep just because the way the program's been doing the last year or so in the SEC tournaments. But I do hope, and I really do feel like Tennessee has all the ingredients to make the championship run. So I am rolling with them. I'm just, heads up.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that. So we move to Friday. This is the final you win or go home because Saturday and Sunday is just single elimination.
Yep, that's right.
So Friday, you've got the winner of Game 9. You had, you had LSU. I had Georgia against the loser of Game 11, which is you had
A&M.
let's see, yeah, you had A&M. I had Mississippi State. So you've got A&M versus LSU.
And give me A&M. That's where LSU's day or week is.
Yeah, I feel like A&M in that situation would definitely have revenge on dropping the series.
I think LSU at that point would run out of pitching. I mean, I
think you're right.
They just don't have the depth to lose and then work their way through it, unfortunately. So yeah, give me A&M.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I've got Georgia against Mississippi State.
Ooh, that's intriguing. That's intriguing. 5 versus 6, brother.
I don't know much about either of these teams pitching, but I just feel like Mississippi State has got a little more pitching in the bag. So I'm going to go with Mississippi State over Georgia in this one. But the offense of Georgia could very well carry them past Mississippi State. That's a toss-up for me. So we've got the winner of Game 10. Let's see. You had... Let me make sure I got this right. I might have got it mixed up now.
Winner of Game 10 for me, I will go ahead and let you know, I have no idea. That's a point.
All right.
I'm blanking because that's the loser of Game 7, which was Vanderbilt versus 8, which was Game 8.
Let's see.
Ole Miss. Vanderbilt. Give me Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt versus Ole Miss is what I had. No. Yeah.
I don't got it all mixed up.
Unbelievable. What are we doing?
All right. So loser of Game 7, Vanderbilt against loser of Game 8. It was you had Mississippi State. Ole Miss lost in the first one for you.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's
so,
my fault. I was reading this wrong again, dude.
So you had Mississippi State against Vanderbilt.
That's a good one for a loser's bracket, isn't it? No, that's not a loser. Yeah, that is a loser's bracket.
All right. So you had Mississippi State beating Vanderbilt. All right. So you've got Mississippi State.
Yep.
Against the loser of Game 12. That was Texas A&M.
Yes, because I got Tennessee going all the way.
Yes.
So Mississippi State versus A&M.
That's a rematch of Game 9.
Yeah, that's the one that's yours, though. Oh, yeah, it is a rematch. Give me... I don't like this game. Give me... Who's better deeper in the week? Give me A&M, bro. They're riding high, dude. They just beat Arkansas, dude. Give me A&M over Mississippi State. In game, yeah.
Make sure I got that right.
I hope you got that right, because I don't. Yeah. Because A&M advanced. They'd be the winner of game 8.
Yeah, A&M.
And then they lose to Tennessee, so they'd be the loser of game 12.
Yeah. All right, so I had... All right, the winner of Game 10, I had... Let's see, Georgia, South Carolina. So I had...
I wish you could just fill these out like we did with the March Madness.
Yeah, I know. So let's see. I had South Carolina, and I also had... No, I had Texas A&M there, and I also had Florida. I had Texas A&M winning. So I've still got... Oh, good Lord.
Who's your championship game, brother? Let's skip to the... Who's going to make it to the final day, brother?
Let's do the Final Four, because I have got Georgia and Kentucky facing off, and then I have got Tennessee and Mississippi State facing off.
Okay, that's fair. However the brackets work out, all right, I've got Tennessee making it to the Final Four. I've got Mississippi State making it to the Final Four. I've got Arkansas making it to the Final Four. And I do have Kentucky going through the losers bracket, making it to the Final Four. So A&M, unfortunately, will not be making it to the Final Four. I know I just contradicted one of my picks because I think at one point A&M was supposed to play Mississippi State, but I do think Mississippi State makes it to the Final Four. So give me Mississippi State, Tennessee, Arkansas, Kentucky. Kentucky and Mississippi State go through the losers bracket. Arkansas, Tennessee win outright all the way through. And that can work out because they're on the separate sides of the bracket. So that is logical. You can fill out my bracket however you want to get to that point, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, I've got Kentucky winners bracket all the way through and Tennessee winners bracket all the way through. And then I have got Mississippi State coming through the losers bracket.
Same.
And maybe I've actually got maybe we had the same one. Maybe we had Mississippi State and Arkansas both coming through the losers bracket.
Well, I had Kentucky. I was going to say I had Kentucky going through the losers bracket. So we got the same Final Four. You just have different teams. You know, you got Tennessee and Kentucky, the top two teams in the league, obviously going undefeated. Yeah. I think we could be in a route for a rude awakening if Tennessee kind of gets put out early, but that's kind of like me with the BBS syndrome, the battered ball syndrome, you know, going through some bad times, and Tennessee lets us down quite often. But, you know, also got to appreciate what they're doing now, and hopefully they take advantage of the situation and understand they're a number one seed in the SEC tournament, man. Go do something with it.
Yep.
You know, go make history. Go do it. You know, go sweep. Do the regular season, because at that point, if you have the regular season and the tournament championship, I mean, even Kentucky should at that point be like, yep, they're the better team this year. You know, it is what it is. Which they should already be like that because we've literally played head to head. But obviously, Kentucky fans are stubborn. They're gonna be like, nope, we get rings. You know, and they do. Don't get me wrong, they do. But Tennessee obviously has done everything they've needed to do to get to where they are. And just don't want that to be overlooked. So,
yeah, absolutely. So, Final Four, I'm going to take Kentucky over Arkansas. I think that's who plays again. Anyway, we both got Kentucky and Tennessee in the championship, correct?
I do. Yeah. Yes. But look, the way that would work, I believe, I don't know how to work this out. Kentucky, if that's your winning all the way through, would actually play the loser of our side. So it'd be Mississippi State. I think Kentucky would play Mississippi State, and then Tennessee would play as the loser of, because like the flip bracket. I don't know how to explain it. I think that's how it works, but I could be completely wrong. We'll figure it out. But I do believe Tennessee and Kentucky, just because I'm a big competitive sports guy. And when you got the top two teams in the league that really haven't been decided on who's better than who, even though it has, I want to see them go face off head to head. Championship Sunday. Like, let's make it happen. Tennessee, Kentucky, and give me the Vols all the way down. I mean, easily all the way. And I hope it happens in my scenario where Kentucky goes through the losers bracket. So that way, if Tennessee does slip up, Kentucky would have to do it twice in a row, you know? And so I don't want that to happen. I'll just be honest.
Yep. I agree with you. I'm trying to work this out real quick just to see exactly how it would flip, but you know, it might be after we get off before I end up getting that. Because man, it's late in the day.
I don't know how it. Yeah, I was gonna say it's 10 o'clock my time almost. We probably shouldn't have tried to do all that in our head, but it's all good. But no, man, I really appreciated you doing the show and willing to do it alone. Being able to talk for an hour and then allow me to jump on and join you. I really do appreciate it. Next week, I don't know when I'm getting in. I'm actually going to be in Texas for a graduation. So hopefully I'm in a decent hour on Sunday, but I did not want to miss 3 consecutive shows. So thank you for allowing me to jump on real quick and get to talk a little bit.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I was telling him earlier, we both got a lot of things coming up on Sundays and stuff, so we might have some we've got some staggered times.
Hey, you got the baseball thing, right? Yeah, you got the baseball thing. And full disclosure, my wife just got out of school, right? She just finished her spring semester. And so now she only has to work about every third weekend. And during the spring and the fall, bro, she's working 7 days a week, whether it be school or with work. So we do try to take advantage of the weekends now that we get together, because obviously they come around so little often. But obviously we got a show to run. So I kind of want to stay on top of that as well. But, gotta value what's important, right? And that's family. And I hope everybody listening here understands that. And family's way more important than any sport, any athletic. At the end of the day, family comes first in my household. God, family, and friends. So we definitely try to use that time when we can.
Yep.
And I would expect you to do the same thing. If you called me and said, "Hey man, we're gonna go see some family," I would be absolutely and 100% support of it.
Oh, hey, that's like last week. I texted you. I said, "Hey, we're gonna kind of do a Mother's Day thing." You said, "Man, we've been doing this for however many weeks straight. We hadn't missed one
single week off." Yeah, I know. Other than Christmas and New Year's, like you mentioned, we didn't take a single week off. So totally understandable.
Yeah. So, it's we have fun doing this. We would love to do this every single Sunday at the same time. Have you guys come in, but this isn't our full-time job. We got lives outside of this. We got families that sacrifice a lot for us to be able to do this, and a big shout out to them. But we love delivering Vol sports recaps and predictions and all this for you. But I was excited that you were able to hop on for a little bit because man, we can only do so much talking through text about what all goes on in Vol sports.
Yeah, I love it. I love the friendship that's kind of bonded between us, even outside of high school and whatnot, because obviously you traded. You're a trader. Went to Cornersville. But anyways, being able to have a guy to either message and say, "Oh my God, I want to punch the TV," or "Oh my God, Simo is the greatest player of all time," or just whatever those emotions run through, having a guy to be able to text and say, "Man, this is crazy." It's what it's all about, dude. So, but guys, thank y'all for listening. This has ended up being almost a 2-hour show for Michael. But for me, obviously just under an hour, but very, very appreciative to be able to jump on this weekend. It's been a long weekend, so we're going to go get some rest and get ready for the work week.
Yep, absolutely. So, guys, like I mentioned earlier, stay tuned on the socials. We'll try to keep you updated as far as times and all that for the shows, because we got a lot going on during the summer. And as Skylar mentioned, he'll be coming back from Texas next week, so we will try to work in a time next week for both of us to hop on at the same time. But, Skylar, you got anything else?
No, man, go Big Orange. SEC champions in softball and baseball and men's basketball. Tennessee athletics ain't slowing down anytime soon.
Absolutely. For Skylar and myself,
I'm a ball for life, y'all. I bleed orange and white, y'all. I will till I die, y'all. I'm a ball for life, yeah. Raised up on John Ward, giving 6 in the checkerboard.